In innovation, we talk about white space. It might not be a term familiar to you, but the term white space to us, as we define it, is the space where consumers have an unmet need. They want something. And as yet, no company has risen to the surface to give them a product, a service, or a business that will fulfill that need adequately. That is white space, and I believe green is burgeoning with white space. White space that people who haven't been exposed to the habits and the jar, inside the jar thinking of the business world are free to exploit. Now let me give you a couple of leads on some of this massive white space. The clean tech group, one of the leading venture capital groups in the area of green and clean tech, puts out predictions every year. And they've got a pretty good batting record. They've got about an 80% win record on their predictions. I read their predictions for 2010, and I've summarized a few of them, 5 of them for you, just to show you what sort of white space you could be exploiting. The first area of white space, private capital is up again. Yes, in the recession, it went down like everything else went down. But the amount of venture capital being invested in green tech and clean tech now stands at about 12.9% of total venture capital. That is higher than software or biotech. Think about that. We are investing more venture capital into green tech and clean tech than we're investing in software or biotech. That was a bit of a head turner for me. What does that mean? Well, if you have natural skills in investment, or if you have an idea that's sitting in your garage, or you know how to take an idea from mind to market, there is money out there, people. There is money to be made. The second area of white space to exploit. The race for clean energy seems to be turning into the next space race. Now, there are very few of you in here who are old enough to remember the Apollo and the space race. It was a race between the Russians and the Americans. Who's going to be first to put a man on the moon? And JFK famously said, our mission is to put a man on the moon and bring him safely back to Earth within 10 years. What did that do? It sprouted an entire industry. It created a massive outburst of thinking and invention and innovation. It boosted the confidence of an entire nation. It created an entirely new economy and confidence. Now, fast forward, 2010. The US has just announced that they're going to invest $110 billion in green and clean energy. The Chinese have announced that they're going to spend $440 billion, I believe the figure is, over the next 10 years. The Germans are investing. You've got to be worried when the Germans start investing. The Brazilians are investing. Don't worry about the Brazilians investing. The Spanish are investing. The South Koreans are investing. And even the Canadians are investing massive amounts of money in clean energy. Read the newspapers, mainly about China and the US, and see the sort of rhetoric that's happening. And you can lay that over what was happening in the early 1960s with the Russians and the Americans with the space race. What do I predict? I predict that this is going to create a massive outpouring of innovation and competitiveness and a race to create the greenest energy nation. What does that mean for you? It means that now is the time to be getting into it with bright ideas and tapping in and saying, hey, you know, I got some ideas for clean energy. Or you look around BC. BC is the breeding ground for clean energy innovation. Chrysalix, one of the leading venture capital companies in the world that funds clean and green energy, is based in Vancouver, about 6 blocks away from my office. Think about that. That's massive white space.